Hello everybody, Thatlowdsg here, back with another Mustang video of course. And in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to install a tubular K-member. Right off the bat, you'll be able to tell a weight difference between the old and the stock. Clearance will be insane. Before we start, I do want to weigh the difference between the stock K-member and the tubular K-member to see what total weight savings is going to be. Okay, I've got the tubular K-member on the scale now, and it appears that it's close to about 32 to 33 pounds. Okay, so I've got the factory K-member on there, and this thing weighs like approximately 65 to 64 pounds. Okay, pause. So if you're wondering, how do I remove my factory K-member? Because really, that's the first step in this whole video. Well, don't you worry. If you click up here in the top right corner or the link in the bio of the description, I have an in-depth removal video on how to take out your factory K-member in the easiest way possible. Okay, resume. Okay, this is all the hardware it comes with. It comes with these 4 bolts, 8 washers total, 4 nuts, and then there's these bushings. I'm sure these are if you want to replace your own bushings with these or whatnot. These are for the steering rack as well. This came with no instructions, so I had to go off trial and error. With the motor mounts, you'll take one of the bolts through. You'll have a big washer on the end right here, and then another washer on the end, and then the nut right over. And then you'll tighten it down like so. There's only 4 of these total. One will go for the motor mount, the other one will go for the other motor mount, and then these 2 are for the steering rack. Okay, we're on the passenger side now, and like I said, these motor mounts are universal. So passenger side, you'll want to grab the one that looks like this shape, because the driver's side one is a different shape. Alright, so we're going to grab the motor mount now, and we're going to line up the holes, and you'll want to tuck this ground right in front of it. Like I said, it's a universal motor mount. So some of these holes aren't going to line up, and that's okay, because it's still going to be able to utilize the factory mounting holes right up there and there. And the factory ones only had these 3 mounting points, so you're okay, don't worry. And then this final one's going to take one of these smaller ones. Moving on to the driver's side now, you will have to follow this dipstick up to this bolt right here. It's an 8mm. You just have to take it out real quick, and that will allow you to pull the dipstick back so you can slide the motor mount behind it. Make sure the grounds go on it, of course. These are the same factory bolts from the factory motor mounts. With the motor mounts in, we can now drop the K-member in. Okay, now this is how the K-member should slide in. It'll just slide straight in, just like how it's positioned underneath the car. These points up here, this is where the factory upper frame mounts. You will use the original bolts for these. On these sides right here, these are where the factory rear mount bolts will go up to. So this will go where the rear mount was sitting, and you can see these have slides for adjustability. So we're not going to tighten all of these bolts down. We will have to move it forward or backwards. Now, you want to do yourself a favor and get some lube. I'm just using some WD-40, and we're just going to spray it on the contact surface of where these bushings are. Nothing too crazy. And on the back side. Now where the motor mounts are as well, you'll also want to spray the inside surface just a tad bit on both sides. Now once this is all done, you want to move on to the driver's side and just do the same exact thing. Okay, now with all of the mounting surfaces lubed up, we're ready to slide this thing in here. We're just going to slide it in just like how this is. And you'll want to slide it in between the grooves of where the motor mounts are and the bushings. Kind of got to get both sides in there at the same time. And once you kind of got it stuck in there, kind of sitting on the motor mount now, or it's going on. Alright, washer going on. Let's get this bad boy in there. There we go. Alright, one more washer. Back side, back up here. Okay, now with this in there, we can just kind of keep this held in, and that will let us install the bolts going into the upper frame and the lower frame mounts. So what we're doing now is I just got all the motor mounts bolted in. So what you want to do is you want to get a flathead screwdriver, stick it in between the 2 holes right here, pry it this way, so that way you can get the bolt to stick it through. This will take a lot of persuasion. There we go. Is it sticking to the top? Yeah. What we had to do to realign these was I had to come over here and put in just one of the lower frame mounts to hold it in. I've got the motor mounts on this side, kind of just fairly loose. Same with the bolts on the motor mounts. Same with the motor mount over here. These are loose. What I had to do to get that to align was loosen it up through here, just by tightening it. So we lowered the motor a little bit so we could get the bolts to go through. So now I'm going to stick the other bolts in, and then we're going to raise the motor back up so that way we can fully tighten them. Alright, so we've got these on the threads a little bit. Alright, okay, so now I'm just going to stick the bolts in for the lower frame mount. Kind of get it on there for now. And that's 2. So we're just going to keep these kind of loose for now because we still need to move the K-member around. You can see on the passenger side here, you can see that we do have the bolts kind of sticking into the upper frame mounts. Down here too at the lower frame mount, I also have them just kind of threaded on there very lightly. So with all these bolts in now we can go ahead and put our rack through the K-member and let's see how this thing fits up on it. We'll have to take these out. I'm actually not even sure what these are. You can see them sticking out right here. I just had to twist the old one out. Just like that, they kind of just twist straight out, not too hard. So these are the stock ones that came out. These are the new ones. These are just gonna shorten it. I guess these are just kind of like a metal casing around the bolt to keep it in, keep the rack on it. That's what I'm assuming these are for. So these we'll just put in place of where these were. So you'll just stick them in just kind of like that. They can only go in one way, and you'll just kind of have them flush with each other. Because as you can see, if you try to put them through there, it will not work. So they will just need to sit on the inside of like where the casing is. Slide one of the bolts through. There we go. And that will slide back in. Just like that. You will have to reuse the old washers and whatnot. And you'll want to put a washer on the back side. For now, I'm just going to put this thing in and have it on there. I want to see if it fits. It says it should, but everything's looking pretty good right now, at least on this end. So we've got it held in, kind of. I mean, it's not all the way in. It's on there. Going on to the other side. When I do get to this, looks like you can kind of see it's already there, and then you can kind of pull it out a little bit more. So you can see it, and you can push it in and it'll shorten it, or you can pull it towards you and it'll lengthen it. Gonna go on there. I'm just gonna have to get this steering rack fully bolted in. I might have to remove these rear bushings. Once I get it fully on there and pressed up against it, everything should fit as should. But all in all, everything is pretty much in. It's kind of loose right now because we still have one more step. We need to square the K-member. So squaring the K-member is making sure that the wheelbase up front is square with the rear, meaning that everything is equal from the front to the back, from diagonal across. So I've already got the rear jacked up and the wheels off, we're gonna have to find a fixed point in the rear, probably one of the control arms or something, or maybe where the torque box is. But that is a whole nother process. I'm just glad that this K-member is finally in. For the K-member itself, I mean, everything's kind of sitting in here right now. We'll have to do the rack, which I will get this fully bolted in when I square it and everything. Everything's kind of been loose, bolts wise, and that's okay because we will have to probably adjust this a little bit. But that wraps it up for the K-member part. If you guys enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like down below. If you have any questions, feel free to meet me in the comment section down below as well. I hope this video helps everybody out. I've been trying to get some more angles with both my GoPros and my camera to make these videos the coolest possible for you guys and easy to follow. This was honestly a pain in my butt. I will not lie to you guys. I had to go back and forth, putting bolts in, putting bolts out, raising the motor, lowering the motor. It wasn't a big issue, but it was just kind of going back and forth, trial and error. Same thing with the headers. Hopefully with this video it can make it easy for everybody to understand and do at home. But thank you guys for watching. The next video will be how to square the K-member. Be a follow-up video on this one, and I've got some other treats and goodies coming on the way for the Mustang. Of course, there's some big things happening this year. Despite everything going on, I hope everyone's staying safe, being healthy and whatnot. But thank you so much for watching. Have a good rest of your quarantine. Feel free to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Thank you to everyone who subscribed to the channel recently. Your support does not go unnoticed. There will be a lot more content on the way, don't you worry. Quarantine has got me creative and doing a lot of things to the Mustang. So thank you, quarantine, but not thank you at the same time. Peace out, and I will see you guys in the next one.